everyone, it's Sharana from Payorwait, and today I'm going to be reviewing and recapping Grotesquerie, episodes 1 and 2. This series stars Niecy Nash. It's the latest Ryan Murphy series to hit FX, and this time around we have Niecy Nash as our lead, who is Detective Lois, who is investigating a gruesome murder that has some crazy religious undertones as she is trying to find the person behind this and bring them to justice. So before I get into this recap, I actually had the opportunity to interview the cast of Grotesquerie. So if you can do me a favor, go to the comment section, look at the pinned comment, go watch the interview, show your girl some love, and then come back every week as I recap the episodes. So episode 1 opens up. Honey, Miss Lois got some some demons that she is battling, as we see that, you know, my girl, she like a little vodka drink, okay? She like a little vodka straight, a little bit too much, maybe like the whole bottle a night, but that's her business. So we see that she wakes up, we see the cigarette butts, we see the empty bottle of vodka. She gets a phone call about a murder that's taking place at the Burnside residence. As she is walking up, my man was like, hey girl, like before you go in there, go ahead and give this case to the feds because you don't want this. I don't want no part of this. I don't think you need to do it. Go ahead and send it to the feds. And she's looking at him like, is it really that deep? And so it's people puking. And so, you know, I don't know when we got to the point where we felt like we needed to actually show the puke coming out of somebody's mouth. I get it, they're throwing up, I get it. I don't need to see it, okay? I'm sitting up here trying to eat my little meal, and then I'm watching this, and it was just like, honey, a bit much. I know y'all sitting there like, so Bish, you mad about the puke, but it's little dead bodies and stuff, and that didn't bother you while I was eating. It didn't bother me. It was the throw up that really got to me and disturbed my spirit. So she walks into the house, and everyone has this just crazy stunned look on their face, like this is some mess. You know how you be at work and you be like, they don't even pay me enough to deal with this, okay? That's the look that they had on their face, like, oh honey, they don't even pay, the tax dollars don't pay me enough to be dealing with this foolishness. I know a couple people put in a little 2-week notice after these murders. So we see that the family is dead. You know, they're sitting at the dinner table. There's something like stuffed in their mouth. We see that there's a body in the kitchen with its head cut off. So I was just like, is it the daddy brains in their mouth? Like what was going on? We know that it was a family of 5. It was, you know, the husband and wife and their 3 children. And so we see that when she goes into the kitchen and the timer goes off and then she sees something in the pot and she had this look on her face. But I was like, well, what's in the pot, honey? Like if they took the time to cook something, what's going on? But we later find out when she's talking to Sister Megan that the killer actually cut the head off, grinded the meat out, took the husband's liver, you know, carved it into some nice little pieces. And I know I'm gonna go to hell for saying this, and I know, Lord, I be fighting for my place in heaven every single day. But when she started describing all the seasonings on it, I was like, oh, I know that liver tastes good. I know Daddy Burnside, I know he was good. Little roast, little liver roast, like a little what'd she say, it was carpaccio? I was just like, I know this is like a human flesh, but I was like, when they put all them little herbs and seasonings together, I was like, I can kind of smell Mr. Burnside got a little hungry, but okay, I'm sorry, Lord, just charge it, I'm sorry, just pray for me, okay? So we see that she tells Sister Megan, like, you know, the family died of shock, like they died of heart failure. So much that whatever this killer was doing to them, forcing them to eat Mr. Burnside, that it shocked them so much that it stopped their hearts. And so when we find out what she was actually looking at into the pot, man, the killer didn't put the baby in a damn pot. And I was just like, okay, now if you want to turn Mr. Burnside into some beef carpaccio, whatever they said it was, do that. But the baby, you boiled the baby. Why? Okay, it was too much. Okay, so we get a little insight into Lois's family life. We see that her daughter Merritt, played by Raven Goodwin, is she's sitting up there watching Jeopardy. And I was like, girl, you sitting up here acting like you don't want to go get this Jeopardy money. You know all these answers. Like, stop blocking your blessings, okay? It was a bit much. And so they're having this conversation back and forth. She sees this rash on her mom's body. She's like, what you gonna do about that rash? And she was like, get out of my business, okay? And it'd be real funny because, you know, parents be all up in your business. And then when you try to hold them accountable and ask them what they're gonna do to take care of themselves, now all of a sudden we gotta have boundaries with people's business, but you don't have those boundaries with mine. So I was just a little confused about this back and forth between Merritt and her mama. All right, so I I felt personally attacked when she started talking about like, you got that bite that's just collecting dust. And I was like, hold on, Mary, you trying to come for me too? Because my Peloton definitely is collecting dust right now. But you know what? I'm gonna do a little bit better. So we see that, you know, she asked her like, what's going on? Something seems off with you. She's just like, you never asked me about work. And she looking like, well, bitch, you'll never be this shooken up when you come home from work. So like, what's going on? And she said, I don't want to talk about it. So she said, fine, do you, boo. I'm gonna go back to my Jeopardy game, all right? She goes to the hospital to see her husband, Marshall, who's played by Courtney B. Vance. And so we find out that he has been on a ventilator for the past 28 days, which is bad because you really shouldn't be on the ventilator, but for a few days. We see Nurse Red, who deserves to have her behind beat. Like, the stuff that she was saying to Lois this entire time, like, Nurse Red should have caught them hands, like, honestly, at the first moment, okay? She brings her into the office and then she started talking about how he's a good man and I'm so fond of him. I said, bitch, this man been on a ventilator, so how the hell you know what type of man he is? I'm just trying to understand, like, how you know all this stuff about my husband who's on a ventilator? Like, it's something else going on. But this is the part that really, like, that sent me, okay? Because she's having this conversation because she thinks that, you know, he should maybe go to another hospital, you know, where he can have, like, you know, more better care since they are a small hospital. But when she just said, when she told her like, hey, maybe you could be a little bit more attentive and come to the hospital a little more often, okay? And maybe when you speak to your husband, don't just be like, how you doing? And I was like, hold on, how you gonna tell me what I'm supposed to be saying to my husband? And now she was recording everything that she was saying. She was like, well, you know, somebody impregnated one of the patients, so, you know, we gotta have cameras and stuff. But when she was just like, he is a shiver in my quiver, I said, I was taking my earrings off like, nah, ho, square up. Because you say one more thing about my husband, you are highly inappropriate right now. I just didn't understand why Lois was letting her get away with so much murder in this first meeting where we meet Nurse Red. So she also said, she was like, well, I'm the one sitting up here wiping his ass. And she's like, excuse me? And she was like, I'm sorry, are you gonna do it? And I said, ooh, gagged, okay? Miss Lois better than me, because I would have been in jail already, okay? The shiver in my quiver, that would have been grounds alone for beating her behind, okay? Beating the brakes off of Nurse Red. But you know what? She's funny. I liked her, so I'm here for her. But we see that she ends up, after Lois gets dragged for filth by Nurse Red, she ends up going to the police station, and so they're still talking about this case. And then she meets Sister Megan, who's played by Michaela Diamond. And Sister Megan's like, I was like, I'm sorry, when did the nuns start getting iPhones? I said, what's happening with the collection place that Sister Megan got an iPhone? I'm just trying to understand, because last time I checked, the iPhones weren't the phones of the Lord, okay? So I'm just trying to understand what's happening with the collection plate and how she got an iPhone, okay? I was just a little bit confused about it. And so she goes to talk to her about the murders and what's been happening. You know, they said, honey, the way that y'all don't be tithing, okay, you don't be giving your tithes and offering, all right? So we had to find another way to make some money. So now we cover true crimes, so we can bring in, everybody love these true crimes, and so that's why we cover it for our little newspaper with the nuns. And so now y'all got these murders going on that's good for business. We trying to make sure that we can put some more money into the house of the Lord so the nuns can get more iPhones, okay? That's not what she said, but I'm just saying I'm still confused about the iPhone thing. But she ends up telling her about the murders and what happened, and she tells her that there was this song playing, and that's kind of what triggered the neighbor to call at 3 o'clock in the morning and say that he heard this loud noise. And basically, you know, it was a Mozart, I think it was Requiem Dream. I could be wrong, but y'all know what I'm talking about. And so before she could even tell her what the name of the song was, you know, Sister Megan guessed it, and she's like, hold on, ho, ooh, Lord, I did not mean to call the sister a hoe, okay? I just, it came over me, okay? I would never disrespect your children like that, okay? I'm so sorry. She was like, hold on, child of God. How did you already know what the song was? She pulling out her drawer, like with the gun. I said, you finna shoot the sister in the middle of the police station? What's she finna do to you? So, also too, I was very confused at why Lois was just willy-nilly, like, you know, drinking vodka in her coffee at work. I was just a little confused, like, So they just let you drink like that? It's just okay for you to drink like that? I was just kind of confused by that whole interaction. But she ends up just saying, like, you know, it makes sense. And then she talks about all like kind of the biblical meanings behind, you know, the crime scene that she described to her. She talks about that there was a fluid that we later find out, you know, kind of mimics brimstone. And so Sister Megan was able to talk about the different biblical meanings for what this could be with this substance that the killer has been leaving behind. So I guess what Nurse Red dragging her for filth, she brought her behind back to the hospital. She decided to spend some time. She did take her a little swig of some vodka to kind of get her in the mood, and she kind of lays on top of Marshall. She talks about it when they got engaged, you know, and how she felt, you know, getting her badge and getting an engagement ring in the same day, and how she wants him to come back to her. So I was like, okay, I guess Nurse Red like had to read you for filthy to get you to come back and talk to your husband. But I was just like, you know, it is what it is. Do what you gotta do, boo. Get your husband to come back, all right? But we see that there's another murder that takes place, and then we see that these bodies are like kind of hung up like they've been crucified. Their torsos are cut in half, and it's kind of crazy because there's no blood present. So, you know, the sister just randomly popped up, and I was just like, girl, where you come from? Like, how you just sneak in like that? It was very confusing to me, like how she was just there. And so Lois ends up letting her take notes. Now, I don't understand the reason behind why Lois is allowing her to be at these crime scenes. She says that, you know, she's a bigger help to her than the officers. And I do find it of note that anytime that we see these gruesome murders, it's always the women who are kind of standing there like, oh, damn, like this look nasty. And then the men like, oh, honey, they throwing up. They like all bent over, like still they don't pay me enough for this mess every single day. So I think it's very interesting how they're the ones who are kind of calm and collected. You know, Sister Megan just be fascinated by all these murders, and I'm just a little bit confused about that. But they're the only ones that seem to be unfazed. Like Lois is disturbed, you know, by everything that's happened. Is causing her a greater amount of stress than normal. But I think it's just interesting how the difference in reactions between the genders. As they're having a conversation, when she tells her, they kind of talk about the second murder, and this is when she kind of makes the connection with the brimstone, kind of like the substance was sulfur dioxide. Dioxide was high concentrations of that found within the substance. And so it's crazy because Sister Megan cursed, and I was like, hold on, so y'all got iPhones and y'all can start cursing now? Like, just, huh? Do the Lord know you doing all, I mean, the Lord know you doing all of this, but it's a lot, Sister Megan, it's a lot. But for Lois to tell her language, and I said, you've been cursing at Sister Megan since the first day you saw her. How you gonna get on her about language? Like, have it make sense for me, Lois? But the episode kind of just ends as they're finding that these religious connections are kind of being undertones within all of the different murders that they've witnessed so far. But in episode 2, we go back to the past where we see that Marshall is getting on Merritt about her weight. And okay, I'm so sorry, but once again, I'm going to hell for this. When he was like, hey, honey, if you want to weigh in, let me know if you want to weigh in on this. And then she was like, I'm sorry, I think it's enough weight already. And I said, now, Lois, why would you say that? Why would you say that, Lois? I did laugh. I chuckled. I'm so sorry. So when Mary goes to her room, because she's just like, I'm not dealing with this. Like, y'all talk amongst yourselves. Now, it was kind of crazy, and I did feel a little bit triggered as a Black child. And, you know, my mother used to get on me about my weight. And I said, now, girl, hold on. Flag on the play, okay? You sit up here talking about my weight like you weren't taking me to the store to get honey buns, donuts, and the powder donuts, the blueberry muffins every single morning from the gas station, Hardee's, McDonald's, Mystic. Like, girl, where do you think I learned these traits from? How you think I got bit? I ain't got no money for no food. And you saw Lois up there sitting up cooking them damn taquitos for her with the avocado salsa. That don't make no sense. Y'all are just as much enablers as like her being complicit in overeating. So I was just like, ooh, they be doing too much to me. But speaking of doing too much, so then, you know, Marshall's kind of getting on Lois like, hey, like, I could use your support in this. And then he was like, and honestly, you know, we might need to have an intervention for the whole family, because it seems like you've taken drinking as a pastime to a full-time job. And I said, oh, I know he didn't. And she said, I know you effing lying, because if we're going to sit up here and talk about my addiction, honey, then we're going to talk about your sex addiction. I said sex addiction? Marshall, Marshall, not the ethics professor. Marshall, you out here, you got some side hoes. How? She was like, I can smell the side hoe on you, okay? While you be going to, wait, what did she say? She said I can smell the side piece on you. And then she was like, and you be going to the Starburst Motel and the Happy Hoe Inn. And I said, the Happy Hoe Inn, I'm done. I didn't heard it all. And so, you know, Marshall says, he tried to deny it at first. And she was like, look, ho, I had people follow you. Like, please do not play with my own notions. Do not play against my intelligence. I have people follow you. I already know you got hoes. Do what you need to do. But if you're going to be sitting up here like talking to me, then you need to look yourself in the mirror and handle your own issues. Okay. And so he tells her like, you're almost too cruel to fight for. And then she was like, well, let me do one better for you, baby. Get the hell up out of my house. Bye. Step. Go. All right. And then he says like, you know what? I still love you sometimes. And then she's like, sometimes I pray that I get a phone call informing me that you died. And I said, I mean, I know you mad, but dang girl, don't say something that you're going to regret. And he was like, I hope you don't regret them words. And I was like, I think she already does. I was like, dang Lois, like you a little bit cruel. Like I kind of get what he said. I did find one weird thing. They had this like shaky cam because I guess this was her staring at Marshall while she's kind of like remembering how this argument played out against them. I just thought it was very random, but Nurse Red strikes again. She's giving him a sponge bath, and I said, hold on, girl. Are you playing with Marshall PP? Like, what are you doing, girl? And so Lois come in like, I said, Lois, if you're not gonna be her behind, then I'm finna be her behind for you. I'm finna jump through this TV screen right now. So then she come in like, girl, what is you doing? And she was like, girl, what are you talking about? And I'm like, what's she talking about? It looked like you giving him a happy ending. That's what it's looking like to me. And so they have an exchange of words, and then basically like, you know, Lois was like, okay, ho, like for real, I'm finna beat your behind right now. And then she's like, baby, do it. And after you beat my behind, my security guards that's behind you, they finna come beat your behind, okay? So what I would actually advise you to do, if you don't wanna get arrested, if you don't wanna be committed, if you don't wanna be laying up in the bed just like your husband, I would advise that you take your raggedy behind and go downstairs to the cafeteria and chug a couple of black coffees or whatever alcohol beverage that calms your nerves. And I said, honey, the drag, the read, I was dead, okay? She said, whatever alcoholic beverage that calms your nerves. I said, Lois, I still wanted her to beat her behind, but I said, I don't know, like it was too much for me. So then they have these like words back and forth in the hospital room, and she was like, well honey, let me tell you what, you can go ahead and give your own husband a bath, okay? How about you do that? And then while you're at it, it seems like he hasn't climaxed yet, so you can go ahead and finish him off. And I said Leslie, I like Leslie who plays Nurse Red. Like she's definitely one of my favorite characters. She still needs to have her behind beat before this series is ended, but anytime I see her, I know I'm gonna give my entire life. So I was okay with this. So we go to later that night. It's 4 o'clock in the morning and Lois is working. You know, Merritt comes in like, girl, like, why is this music so loud? Like, people ain't sleep. You gonna have the neighbors calling in on us. Like, what are you doing? And then Merritt Merritt went and pulled out a whole ham and a whole thing of Dijon mustard. First of all, I was like, I know the ham is busted, but a whole half ham at 4 o'clock in the morning, Merritt, like I be trying to ride for you, but that don't make no sense, okay? So they going back and forth with each other, and then she like got on her about her drinking, and she got on her about her eating, and then she was like, I drink to become sharper. I think sharper when I'm drunk. And I said, girl, huh? How does that make sense? You sharper when you drink. You not as sharp when you sober. Girl, do you hear yourself right now, Lois? Stand up. Wake up. You got a problem, girl. Ooh. She said, I'm sharper when I have a drink, and I can't see clear when I'm sober. I said, you know what? We just gonna pray for her, okay? So we cut to the pastor, okay? We get into the pastor with Nicholas Chavez, and I said, Lord, why are you taking all the fine soldiers, okay? You couldn't have no ugly child of God's. You couldn't have no ugly children to be the pastors. You gonna take the fine men and put them behind the pulpit? Like, how selfish are you, Lord? Let me stop. No, how selfish are you, Lord? Like, okay, I said, hey, pastor, what they call him, priest. I said, hey, priest. No, hey, father, that's call him father. You saw them nuns cheesing, you see Megan cheesing at him, and then they go get something to eat, and then she talking about these fries are orgasmic. I said, Megan, sister, what do you know about orgasmic? And then the pastor, priest, whatever, father, he's sitting up here looking at her like orgasmic. And I was like, well, first of all, both of y'all doing a little bit too much for me to be the children of the Lord's, okay? Y'all need to chill out. But I am using the father's thing when she took his fry, and it kind of angered me, because if somebody would have reached over and took my fry when I see that they have fries, we would have had to fight. Actually, story time. I was on a date with this guy I was dating, and we went to Waffle House, and so we were ordering, I got my all-star special, and then he was like, oh, my stuff doesn't have eggs. He was like, do you have eggs for yours? I said, yeah, I get 2 eggs. And he was like, oh, I just eat some of yours. And I said, I know you effing lying. And he was like, what? And I said, do you want me to order you some eggs? And he said, you gonna eat all your food? I said, you damn right I'm finna eat all my food. That's why I ordered the food. What do you mean? Yes, I'm gonna eat it. And he looked at me crazy. He's like, yeah, I wanna see if you eat it. And yes, I did eat my food. Ugh. But when he said like theft is a sin, that's what I'm gonna start telling people. When they reach over to my plate, I'm gonna be like, theft is a sin. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do, okay? So then they start talking about, the father thinks that the Satanists are behind these murders. Then they start talking about their favorite serial killers. And I'm just like, I'm confused. Like, father, sister, aren't y'all supposed to be talking about your favorite saints? Like, why y'all know so much about serial killers? It's almost making me side-eye them a little bit. Like, are y'all the hoes that's behind this? Because I'm just confused, because Sister Megan just be popping up without Lois or anybody letting them know that it was a murder that happened. So I was just a little confused. But what I was blessed with, let me not say that, because I'm already going to hell for this review. But actually, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. If I'm going to go to hell, might as well just go all in, okay? So when he was like, first of all, he in his room, and he got these chaps on, and I said, Father, where you get these chaps from? Then he's sitting up here, I guess he was, he was happy Indian himself, and then he started beating himself. I was like, oh my God, like, what's going on? And then why you still beating yourself in the chap? Like, it was just a lot, okay? It was just a lot. But, if we needed this imagery, I don't know why I'm struggling right now, but it's okay. Y'all know what I'm trying to say, all right? So if that's what you needed us to see, I don't know how this delves into the story, but go ahead and do what you need to do. Sometimes we just gotta watch things, we gotta take one for the team, and so I'm okay with this. So Lois called Sister Megan, they talking, and she was like, hey, we got a hit on this Sullivan Furcus who got out of jail. He used to be an organ harvester, so hold on your story, because we think that this is the right direction. So they get to the house, of course, people start puking again, looking all crazy, like I don't get paid enough to look at this. Now this was okay. I thought both of them was dead, but then when I found out that he had been dead for weeks and he had his mama chained to the wall and he almost like he had him eating the mama out, I don't know if that's what it was. That's what it was looking like to me. And then she was actually still alive and she was quoting these little scriptures. And then Lois found this little box and tried to have her daughter married, see if she can get into it. It was just a lot going on, okay? From that point, I was just like, it's a lot. It's a lot for me. I'm also confused why now Sister Megan, I'm like, first of all, I'm like, so Sister Megan got an iPhone and she knows orgasmic, and then she ordered an Alicia Martini, and I was just like, and then she said, gosh golly, what'd she say? Good golly, Miss Molly. I said, girl, what? Over drinking this drink. And I was just like, I'm confused. Just as I was confused when Lois didn't order a drink and she told Sister Megan, like, I need to be sharp. And I said, hold on, girl, now I thought you said when you had a drink, you sharper. So like, what's the truth and what's the lie, Lois? Because I'm trying to understand, all right? So I'm just trying to figure out where Sister Megan is getting all this money. I think she's stealing from the collection plate. I think we need to do an investigation, because I just don't even know how she got money for all of this stuff in the first place. But we see that Lois comes home drunk after this interaction, and then Merritt almost gave her a heart attack. She pulled a gun on her, and she was like, hold on, Mama dang. And then she was just like, girl, I was like, Merritt, why are you sneaking up on your mom if you already know she'd be drinking? And like, what was you doing? I did forget something in the first episode when there was someone in the house and then she ran outside to chase them and then she was shooting, and then Mary came out like, girl, what's going on? And then she was like, girl, get in the house, everything fine. I said, what you mean everything fine? Girl, you was just shooting outside. What you mean everything not fine? And then she did that black mama like, get in their house. You know, they do the little, when you see this, that means business, okay? They're like, get in the house. You know, it's cool, but when they be like, get your ass in the house. When they do that, that's when you know you in trouble. So then Mary, she ran her behind back up in that house, okay? So Lois falls asleep after Mary gives up on the box and she can't open it. And all of a sudden, the jazz music's playing and the record skips and it wakes her up. And then you see her doing it in the house. And I was like, girl, you don't see that damn dude in your house? She going the opposite direction. I was like, girl, Lois, what kind of detective are you? So she don't even see that the man was in the house. Okay, and I guess she go look around for 5 seconds and then sit down. Then she trying to say her prayers before bed, and then she gets another call about another murder. And then when she goes, everybody looking crazy again, throwing up. I don't get paid enough to be looking at all of this stuff. And someone has recreated the Last Supper with 12 bodies of homeless people, one of the guys that she had gave money to in the episode. And as episode 2 comes to an end. Now, once again, Sister Megan was just a little bit unfazed, and she was kind of looking at all of it. Also, too, when she had told her about like the organ harvester, she was like, oh, this is cool. And I was like, girl, huh? Aren't you... Megan, girl, do you need to go back to like school and like just relearn about the Lord? I don't understand. But for me overall, you know, I'm intrigued with the 2 episodes. I think that the first episode was stronger than the second episode. I did find myself kind of drifting off in the second episode. I hope that we get even more into the family dynamic between, you know, what kind of led Marshall and Lois to where they're at. I hope that we get to see more about Merritt and kind of how she feels about that family dynamic. And of course, like more past the father, I don't know what Nicholas's character's name is, but I just know if you need us to see him in the chaps again, that's fine. If that's what needs to be done, then I will be here to watch it. But you know, so far so good. I'm intrigued. I want to know who is this killer that left his calling card, Grotesquerie. But I'm excited to see what the rest of the series has in store for us. I love a good whodunit. I think I love Niecy in this. I do want to see her become even more unraveled, more unsettled as the series continues to go on. But yeah, so far so good. I'm intrigued. I'm excited. I'm ready to see what's going to happen. How much darker are these killings going to get? I don't know, but I will be seated for it. But those are my thoughts on Grotesquerie, episodes 1 and 2. As always, my name is Sharonda from payorwait, and if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit the notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. And until I see you again, bye.